Hello, Instagram community. So good to be here with you again. I have kind of a few special things to talk about today, and I'm just about to be going to Portugal for a very, very special event that I've been invited to speak at that will be on May the 4th, be with you. And I'm really excited to talk about that, and I'm going to have someone join me, and so it should be coming up here. Let's see. No, not yet. Okay, hi everyone. Tell me where you're from. Tell me what you're up to today. While I'm waiting for Luke, I'm going to talk a little bit about what the latest downloads and stuff I've been getting have been. And literally in the last 5 days, I've written a book called the Codex Universalis Principia Mathematica, with a Latin name. And the reason I wrote this book is because it literally came in downloads from last week until now, and it's literally 500 pages of the unification of science and spirituality. And I wrote it all this week, and thankfully I've had the formatting help of ChatGPT. It's all based on new discoveries that unifies the mathematics of both quantum physics as well as standard model physics. And yes, it's going to blow everybody away. It unifies gravity and electromagnetism into one force that is literally electricity. And it proves it through a harmonic field, which is the fifth dimensional field, and the fifth dimensional field is directly related to the imaginary number and the complex plane. So I will not go into the total details about this right now, but suffice to say, you're going to be seeing this very, very soon. So the unification of gravity and electromagnetism and radiation, therefore, and through this doorway, which was found, that all relates back to the most mysterious number in all of physics, which is the mirror of consciousness itself, and that is the number 137. And of course, that's significant to me because I'm born on the 137th day of the year on leap years. And in addition, the 137 is related to the most beautiful mathematical equation that exists. And e to the I pi plus 1 has been formerly known as equaling 0, and in one sense it does because that's an equilibrium point, but actually the true value of e to the I pi plus 1 has a real value because I now has a real value. I've been posting on this, and I being the imaginary number, and something related to something called harmonic collapse. So harmonic collapse is whenever in physics you have any type of matter or otherwise that basically has one spin rotation, one direction. As soon as you inverse it, it will basically reverse the spin and turn it the other direction. Now, the square root of 10 is the only number that has the property that allows it to actually be squaring through its inverse, because the square root of 10 is the only number that has its inverse that is numerically equivalent to its non-inverse form. So the square root of 10 is 3.16227766, and 1 over the square root of 10, which can be written as the square root of 10 to the power of -1, basically is 0.316227766. And basically it takes an opposite charge because of this harmonic collapse, which is a well-known phenomenon in physics. So it's the only number that's able to square its inverse. And this also is fundamental because pi, it also relates to pi, because pi plus 10 over pi divided by 2, to take the mean value of pi and its inverse, simply 10 over pi, would basically be 10 times 1 over pi, also equals the square root of 10, approximately. So this is a fundamental crossover point that I was able to derive from this, a actual value as well of where radiation and gravity actually have the exact same force strength. And that happens to be at 3.26 millimeters. So I had to create a new constant of measurement kind of like a Planck length, that basically has this crossover point in the harmonic field. And this harmonic field has collapse zones within it. And basically the fifth dimension becomes simply a Cartesian plane, just like you have a 0 in the center, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, positive, and then to the right, if you're looking at it, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then on the left side is going to be negative 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then the going towards the bottom is going to be negatives as well. So we have the real numbers, which are in the upper right quadrant, and the rest are what we would call complex plane numbers. So we have to basically come up with some sort of way to denote this that is not the same, just trying to put this in layman's terms, as how we look at real numbers, because they don't actually have real values. But actually, we've now found that once you understand the principle of harmonic collapse, then all of a sudden you can figure out exactly the relationship between gravity and electromagnetism when we equilibrate units to this exact value of where the crossover point is, which is the number of units at this 3.26 millimeters, which, by the way, happens to also be the square root of 10 plus 1/10. And when we look at that value as a value that we then can use as like a Planck length, so to speak, and we can equilibrate that, we can find exactly the relationship between gravity and why gravity at the macro scales is so much stronger than electromagnetism, and why at the micro scales or the subatomic scales, gravity is so weak, and why electromagnetism is so much stronger. And by the way, the differential between those two, gravity strength over electromagnetism at 10 to the 15th power at the solar system scale, is 137 times. And the strength of electromagnetism versus gravity at the micro or the subatomic scale is also 137 times differential. So it's all related to the fine structure constant, and it's a harmonic field. And the harmonic field, its underlying basis is this inversion or harmonic collapse. So imagine a Cartesian plane that starts from the very beginning, where it's got different kinds of polarities. So not just one polarity, but two types of polarities. The polarity I'm talking about right now in harmonic collapse is slightly different, but it operates in a similar way. So what happens is that you have numbers going from 1 all the way out to infinity, but then 1 over those values is basically finding itself within a very tight range from 1 down to 0, and 0 approaches infinity. So what this is doing is it's creating an analemma, just like where the sun in the sky has its trajectory, and it creates an analemma where it's got a large part of a bubble coming out here and then a small part here. Well, it looks like a butterfly when you put this in fourfold symmetry on the Cartesian plane. And all that we have to explain the strong force is literally, and the mathematics are perfect on this, is an echo. It's an echo of the larger scale that echoes into the subatomic scale. I can't wait for you guys to see all of this and how it basically reconciles physics. It reconciles mathematics along with that physics. It reconciles spirituality and science. And that's why I felt like this was going to be a really, really important book to write. And I've literally spent almost all my time on it during the last week. But literally a 500-page document written as a 3-part manuscript. So I'm very excited about this, and I'm still waiting for Luke to join me here. Here he is. Should be joining in a second. Okay. Hey, how are you?
Well, I was just listening to you. I'm great, thank you. I'm actually caught in the airport right now because there's a massive blackout across Portugal, and everything was shut down across Portugal and Spain, which is, from my perspective, so interesting because of actually what's coming and also the energy and the frequency of what you're revealing
Mm-hmm.
and what we are tapping into with regards to the fifth. And I'm in the process of waiting to pick up my luggage, but this the 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 I don't want to kind of put too much emphasis on the meanings of things because everything but there's the fact that this happens just before what we're about to do.
Yeah, it's not coincidental.
um
No, it's definitely not coincidental. It's the merger of dark and light, and that's exactly what I'm finding, and it's related to the fifth experience and of course the fifth dimension. You there, Luke? Looks like he's got some, maybe because of the blackout. So I'm going to talk about that too. While we're waiting for that to come back up, can everyone still hear me okay? I'm guessing yes, because I see the thread still coming through. What happened in Spain and in Portugal, I believe, is also somehow related to this. And I'm going to explain the way that it was reported in the news is that there was a massive blackout in Spain and Portugal in the last couple of days. And basically, the reason for it was reportedly a massive and very rapid change in temperature that then led to what they were referring to as atmospheric vibrations that caused the entire electricity power grid to go down on the Iberian Peninsula. Now, why would that happen? First of all, I mean, it's not the middle of summer, so it's not some super extreme heat thing. This is really problematic on so many levels, and so I actually believe, and I've done some modeling on this, that what's happening is we have instability in our magnetosphere at present because it's readying for some event that's coming up. And that some event is likely both a magnetic and a true North Pole pole shift. And this is basically now what you're starting to see is the instability of the Earth's magnetosphere starting to extend all the way down. You know, normally we have a pretty tight cluster up at the top of the Earth, and we have it also at the bottom of the Earth where we have Aurora Borealis. Let's see if I can get him back in this again. For some reason. There we go. I think he's back. You back?
yeah, I'm back. Apologies, I'm just getting I've got we're just waiting for our luggage that was blocked as we just landed from New York City because my partner Rachel was kickstarting Earth Day last week in New York, which was really a beautiful experience. And yeah, as we landed, then this blackout happened. Why
So you
this is
had another
significant to me?
blackout then. There was another blackout today.
I know no, that was on Monday, and now we're at the airport picking up our luggage.
Okay,
So all of the
got it.
baggage, so as we landed, the blackout happened as we landed at the airport, and we couldn't go through. We weren't able to go through the border control, and then all the luggage was basically blocked at the airport, and we've had a process of going through to pick up all our luggage over the last days. So we just
So it looks like this time it looks like we've got some other issues going on here. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and just keep going because obviously they're having some issues there in Portugal. But what I believe is actually happening is that there's a instability in the magnetosphere. And we're seeing this with Aurora Borealis come all the way down to Florida and all the way down to Mexico this year. And the fact that there was a localized, looks like some vibrational anomaly that happened on top, just over the zone of Portugal and Spain is bizarre. But I believe it's just emblematic of what's going on with the overall magnetosphere, which is definitely weakening. And it seems to be part of a list of things that happens just before you have a major magnetic pole and potentially even a true North Pole polar flip in some way, shape, or form. And I believe that this actually happens every 6,000 years. I believe that's one of the things that the Great Pyramid is actually telling us, and that the King's Chamber is a map of a stargate, but also it's also a clock, because space and time are irrevocably tied together. So, but basically, while we're waiting for him, so what I'm doing is I'm going to Portugal, and I am going to be opening up. I was requested to come and give this opening speech to this fifth uh, experience. And what is the fifth experience? It was originally referred to as the Fifth Empire by a writer by the name of Fernando Pessoa. And Fernando Pessoa lived in the 20th century, and he spoke a lot about, in his writings, about this King Sebastian. There was a King Sebastian that was in the 17th century that was lost at war. He was in a battle on the battlefield, and nobody knows where he went. They were in a battle with the Moors, and after the king disappeared, then Portugal, which was a pretty wealthy, nation state on its own, got annexed by the monarchy of Spain. And so there was no leader anymore. And so in Fernando Pessoa's writings, he talks about this mythical king returning at the moment that Portugal needs the return to occur, and that Portugal will play an important role in these different stages of the Earth's evolution and consciousness. And the first of these stages, kind of refers back to the ancient times, and obviously, what we know about is the ancient world with Rome and all of that. Then there's like the Second Empire, which is related, as I recall, to Catholicism, and it spread around the world. And then the Third Empire was the European Empire and colonization, and the Fourth Empire was the United States and North America. And the Fifth Empire, he calls out and says, will be commencing in Portugal. And so to commemorate this on May 4th, we're having a big event at just outside of Sintra Castle at this beautiful location. And for any of you that live in Portugal, highly encourage you to come and attend this. It's tagged on to a beautiful conference that's also going on at the same time. And I'm going to be giving this keynote address there, and we have some pretty other amazing speakers as well, and some very talented poets and musicians and everything. They're all going to be there for this. So we wanted to let you guys know that this is happening. I've already prepared my remarks, and obviously with everything that's been going on in this new book and the new downloads and what's happening across the world, I think I'm probably going to make some revisions to it a little bit, because some of this, I wrote my speech already 2 or 3 weeks ago. But a lot of what's happening right now in this merger of masculine and feminine, and what's happening in this merger as well of science and spirituality, I think is going to be just a sea change for the planet. And I believe that the Earth is going to go through a massive shift literally on May 4th. The beginning of the massive next level shift is going to happen on May 4th. And I'm not the only one saying that. There are a lot of people that are actually saying this and getting it in. The intuitives, the channelers, and all of this is seemingly coming together, which is really fascinating to watch. And with what I've been finding with just the mathematics and the physics coming in, we are definitely entering a new level of consciousness. And that new level of consciousness points to this, that the field of this harmonic field, which is the fifth dimensional way of looking at the world, right? And this has been there all along. And then there's another polarity, and this is totally similar, like exactly in line with what Walter Russell said in all of his books, The Secret of Light and The Universal One, et cetera, et cetera. But the key here is that the foundational basis, there's only one force in the universe, and that one force in the universe is actually electricity, just as Walter had posited. And that means that gravity is emergent from electricity, and so is matter, and so is virtually everything. Matter is literally light that is frozen and caught between the centripetal force of gravity and the centrifugal force of radiation. So gravity and radiation together are basically making this entire world. And what is it that runs the harmonics of gravity and radiation that relates to the sex pairing of electricity, anode and cathode, is our thoughts, because our thoughts are electrical. That's absolutely the case. So our thoughts being electrical mean that our field of consciousness is actually what this whole universe is. What we think is material is not material at all. It's literally like a dream. And what we thought was imaginary is actually real. And now having a real value for the imaginary number, I, basically shows us that. And as soon as we make that equation e to the I pi plus 1, the result turns out to be 1.3703. That's the fine structure constant. And if we take its inverse on that, that's 6 decimal digits of accuracy against the fine structure constant, which is 0.00729,735. So when we look at it in that sense, right, this is really an amazing time, because this is the moment where the conscious mind can recognize itself in its U inverse. This is the moment where consciousness sees itself and recognizes itself in the world around it, and it's no longer separate. This is what's happening to humanity right now. We are all starting to wake up to the fact that we're in a dream. The dream is our own dream. No one put us in this dream. We're not slaves because somebody put us in the dream. We're here because we voluntarily chose to be in this dream. I know that's hard for people to understand and hear. And I like what this guy just said. Fuck off. No, sorry. That's sorry. You don't have to agree with it. But the truth is, we're in a dream. And this dream that we're experiencing is now going to shift because we're starting to wake up to the fact that we're in the dream. We've been in the dream all along. And we can start to recognize ourselves. And as we start to recognize ourselves, we see that what we thought was real is not real. And what we thought was fake is both fake and real. I mean, when you live in a world where nothing is real and everything is imaginary, then everything feels real if you have nothing to compare it against. And that's exactly what we've done. We've put ourselves in this circumstance so that we can experience the hormesis and challenge of this world. Because at the end of the day, it's not the easy circumstances that expand our consciousness. It's the more challenging ones that do. You know, I had a podcast yesterday with Wim Hof, and Wim was talking about hormesis and how hormesis is the way to expand your consciousness, to put yourself into pain, and why cold water itself is so dangerous. But what it allows you to do, because it can kill you clearly, but what it allows you to do, it allows you to tap into segments and aspects of your brain that is beyond the reptilian brain. And that can release even dopamine, and you have the ability to overcome the illusion. You could take a very, very cold shower and imagine that it's warm and actually trick yourself into believing that the water is warm. And the reason you could do that is because none of the water was real in the first place. None of it. That's why people that get stuck on flat Earth, they don't understand the concept that actually the truth is none of this world is real. So why do we have to append ourselves to one aspect of it being real? Why does the ground have to be real? Is the ground real in your dreams? No, it's not. Are the people in your dreams separate from you? No, they're not. They are you. They're just as much you as you are you. You are just playing the role of the first person narrative in your dream state. And all the other people in your dream state are still you. And this is Maya. And if you look at the word Maya and read it as an anagram, how would you pronounce it? Well, that would be A-Y-A-M. I am. Exactly. I am. We live in an illusory world called Maya, and its inverse is I am. Really? Now, you could choose to still be asleep. And by the way, if you're still asleep now, you're going to continue to be asleep. That's okay. That's part of the thing you've chosen to be as part your role in this rolling out of what's happening with the expansion of consciousness. If you've chosen to go the way of awakening, you're now in that space. You are now in that world. The world is now split. And you could be in two different realities, even though you have the exact same circumstances around you. As an example, someone sent me a text today saying that it was really bizarre in Portugal this week because when power went out, there were a lot of people freaking out, and some people were like in pandemonium, and other people were dancing around happy. And that's kind of like what the world is right now, isn't it? People that are going through ascension are figuring out, whoa, this can be a blissful place. Oh, I have control over it. How beautiful is this? And on the other hand, people that have chosen to remain in a very dualistic environment and life and experience are now in the experience of going through pandemonium. They can't deal with it because all the strictures and structures of society, governments, literally all the different organizational structures around the world are about to crumble. They're going to disintegrate. They're going to all dissolve. I'll make this prediction right now. I'm not the only one. There are many, many people that are saying this. It's just watch. It's going to happen because this is part now of the transition of consciousness to the superconscious mind and the self-sovereign model of governance. We don't need leaders or kings or anybody anymore to tell us what to do. We are now able to be sovereign, and our relationships will likewise be sovereign, which means that as we go and move more and more towards true self-love, our relationships will also reflect back that dynamic to us. So you could say that, at the beginning of your life, the way the relationships you had, your family members, your friends, and others that show up in your life are basically coming into your life and they're treating you the way that you would treat yourself. Yes, that's exactly what I just said. They're treating you the way that you would treat yourself. And that allows you to sort of see exactly what you're experiencing. Now, as you get further and further along, hopefully your degree of self-love is increasing. And as such, your relationships should become richer and more loving. And the reflected love back to you is going to be directly consistent with the way you love yourself. Now remember, the only way you can love other people is your capacity to love others is only directly proportional to your capacity to love yourself. And self-love is not narcissism. Narcissism is self-loathing, actually. It's when you look in the mirror and you don't like things about yourself, and so you keep nitpicking at it, and you keep saying, oh, this is bad, this is terrible, I got to get rid of this, I'm going to hide that I have this, or I'm going to cover this aspect of myself up, or whatever it is. But actually, when you start to realize that life is about learning authenticity, it's about learning to be truly authentic and to fall in love with yourself just as you are, that's when the clock and the aging process and everything else starts to reverse. When you truly embody your authentic self, then the people that you attract into your life will love you for being authentic. And this is going to be the big shift in your life. I can tell you this is happening to so many people right now. And every word that needed to be spoken but never was, and every emotion that needed to be felt but you didn't allow yourself to feel, must now be both spoken and felt. This is what's happening today. So you're going to have this big catharsis where people are starting to just like have literally verbal diarrhea and saying all the things they've been feeling but repressing and not saying. It's going to cause a lot of relationships to break up. The strong ones will survive. The weak ones will basically dissolve and they'll be replaced with new ones. This is more fundamentally about how you perceive yourself than it is about others and how they perceive you. It's not a universe, it's a U inverse. The U inverse reflects back to you all the experiences, all the things that you don't like about yourself, all the things that you judge in the world around you. And the reason why you judge something is because you're vibrating at the frequency of the thing you're observing and judging. It's a function of sympathetic resonance. If you call somebody else out for some sort of judgment, you don't like what they're doing or otherwise, you are actually vibrating at the frequency of the thing that you are judging in someone else because you are that thing. If you spot it in someone else, that means you got it. So the way that you basically move up in your consciousness and expand your awareness is to break down your self-limiting belief systems. It's to break down all of your judgments and stop judging and instead try to understand. Try simply to understand. It's not the easiest thing in the world sometimes. But the things you continue to judge will continue to flood and inundate your world. It's the way this harmonic principle works of harmonic collapse. Everything must remain absolutely balanced in this universe. In this U inverse, every action will have an equal opposite reaction. This is Newtonian physics to the max. And I can tell you right now that this has been absolutely my own personal experience. I cannot speak for other people's experiences. I won't even try to. And my life journey has been my own life journey, and I'm not going to try to tell you that what I experienced will be what you experience. You know, I'm about to announce the dates and everything of when I'm going to Europe this summer. In fact, it's going to be from the 20th of July until I think the 1st of August. But basically, I'm going to the following cities: to London, to Lisbon, again, to Ibiza, and also to Paris. So I'll be doing presentations in all those cities. We weren't able to do other cities, even though we had requests. It was just too much to put into one schedule for one summer. I can't be gone that much. But I'm very excited. The one in London is going to actually be a 2-day workshop seminar. And I think people are going to really enjoy this because it's all about finding your authentic self and how that manifests in your career, in your life, in your relationships, and everything. I can give you only my example of my life. Everyone's path is going to be entirely unique to their own path. It's not going to be my path. But what I can do is I can basically help illuminate how to find your own path. And through maybe hearing about some of my own experiences, it will help you to be able to illuminate and elucidate exactly what you might be experiencing and going through right now to help you to ease your journey on your path. And that path is only one direction, and that is to absolute radical authenticity and self-love. The only reason why we're here is to learn how to love and how to be loved in the authentic self embodiment. It's just like the end of the movie Moulin Rouge. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. And once consciousness starts to really, really crystallize within your own mind, this notion of darkness and light being merged at this equilibration through this harmonic collapse in this harmonic electrical thought-based field that we're living in, that is beautifully mathematical and absolutely fits the perfection of mathematical modeling in physics that we would expect. And I cannot wait for this to go through all kinds of review. It's going to freak a lot of people out for sure, but I'm just super excited for where it's going, 100%. And the math is the frickin' math. So I want to thank all of you for being here with me today. We're now going into literally a new earth. May the 4th be with you. If you're in Portugal, come to the event I'm going to be speaking at. I think you're going to find there's going to be a lot of new announcements and new ways of looking at the world. And all of it's all intended to help each and every one of us point ourselves towards our own radical, authentic future. And that radical authenticity is both about embodiment and true self-love, and then how to thrive in that environment. The world is shifting, and during these times of change, it is incumbent upon us to adapt to the change that's happening, to make ourselves ready and available, and also surrender to the universe's divine will. And I'm just so grateful to be here with you and to share this all with you. And I wish you all a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day. And yes, there's going to be, it's in Sintra. And it's on May 4th. And so you can find it in my stories as well, and you should be able to go in there. It's also the Fifth Experience, and that's FIVTH Experience. My friend and colleague Will Wire is also going to be there, and for me, it's a real interesting, somewhat of a coming home because I was knighted by the country of Portugal also about a year ago, last May, in when I went to visit the Vatican, and it's an honor to be honored in that way, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to speak and to teach my own experience, which I don't think will necessarily be yours, but maybe it will be helpful to you. But I do believe that collectively, we're now literally in a collective conscious rapid expansion, and get ready because things are going to get even wilder. Love to you all, and it's time for us to thrive in the new earth. Have a great day.